And with regards to social media, you are going to need strong advice from somebody like our next contributor, who is the lovely Colette. Over to you, Colette.
Lovely, thank you. So today I really wanted to talk about cybersecurity and awareness in terms of how important it is when it comes to your marketing. That's both for your customer data, it's obviously important for your customer data, but it's also very important for your brand image. So we know that marketing is very data driven these days. No matter what size or type of business you are, it all comes down to the data. Customer data is so important to business owners because we really strive to understand more about our target audience, because we want to find ways to convert more of them from being prospects to being our loyal customers. So it goes without saying that digital marketing is becoming an ever-growing element, and looking after our customer data and the cyber awareness implications of this becomes an even larger part of a marketing person's role. Now, I'm going to refer to marketers, but by marketers, I actually mean anybody who's not just got marketing as a job title, but anybody who is responsible for marketing a business, whatever their job title is. So whether you're a sales assistant or an MD, if marketing is your requirement and part of what you do, then you need to keep cybersecurity at the front of your mind when you're using marketing tools and planning your marketing activity and your marketing campaigns, and especially when it comes to data collection and data protection. So let's have a look at a few of the areas within marketing where cybersecurity could be an issue. The first one, it's been mentioned a couple of times this afternoon, social media. Social media is a huge part of everybody's world these days, and especially a huge part of today's business marketing world. And again, it's both large and small companies that use this. So care really needs to be taken with any business social media accounts. You need to make sure they're protected with very secure passwords, and that access is restricted only to those who need it as part of their job role, and to people you know can be trusted to post things that are relevant and on brand all the time. Another one is your website. Now, most businesses, I think, have websites these days. There's not very many businesses that don't have websites, and yet poorly configured and out-of-date websites can be an easy target for hackers. So this is more an IT thing than a marketing thing, but make sure you run regular updates on your software, that your plugins are up to date, because you've got to keep your website safe. Now, with WordPress websites, there are a number of configuration changes that can be done that can really help make your website less vulnerable to attack. And certainly a lot of my clients use WordPress websites. So, have a chat with your web developers and your web team and your IT consultants to see what you can do to make your website more secure, because the last thing you want to do is find that your website has been hacked or that, you're losing data through it in some way. Again, lengthy and secure passwords can really help. And if there is an option, Paul's talked about it before, I think Matt talked about it before, if there is an option to enable two-factor authentication wherever you can, and that's where you get the PIN code text to confirm your identity, definitely try and do that on anything you can that's to do with your business. Emails are also a huge part of marketing these days, whether we're sending them out as email newsletters or email announcements to customers, or whether we're just receiving them. I mean, how many emails do we get a day? It's a very popular communication tool within business. It's a hugely effective marketing tool, but it's also a favourite tool of the cyber criminals, unfortunately. So as a marketer, you need to be aware of how both your own company's emails go out, and also you need to be aware of emails coming in that they indeed are from who they say they are. So just to go back to that first point, when sending out an email to a customer database with your marketing hat on, you really ought to be asking yourself, if I were to receive this, would I open it? Because sometimes when we're an email author, it's easy for us to write stuff to try to put a catchy headline, but we have to be aware that we don't people receiving the email don't necessarily know our company as well as we do. They don't necessarily know that it's an okay email. So, you know, be very careful when you're writing an email that you don't get a bit too clever, because customers are becoming increasingly aware of the methods that hackers use. So it can be quite easily, there's a fine line between a snappy marketing copy and you know, some of the spam emails that you get. So be careful that your email doesn't inadvertently look dubious, because even though obviously it isn't dubious, what you don't want it to do is to look dubious and then find nobody opens it because they're a little bit scared of what they're going to get, because that will have a huge impact on your email open numbers, and it really won't do your marketing campaign any good, which means you've wasted marketing time and energy. You're not going to get the results you want. Especially important, you run the risk of damaging consumer confidence if they think there's a bit of a dodgy email going out with your name on. Another thing that's really important to marketing teams is data. Marketing teams have access to nearly all customer information, whether they use it for promotion or for analysis. So it's obviously important to keep that data secure. Encrypting data can be a hugely important step. So, you know, we talked about websites, installing an SSL or a HTTPS digital certificate on your website will really help ensure that your website is kept safer. But again, comes down to customer confidence. If I go on a website and it's not got the padlock and it doesn't say HTTPS is secure, I'm less or more wary, less inclined to maybe make a purchase, because I want to know that I've got that confidence. And, you know, consumers don't always understand all this digital world we live in. So make it as easy as possible for people to buy from you. Don't have anything in their way that could make them fall at the last hurdle. Now, as part of creating a marketing campaign, it's sometimes necessary to share data with trusted suppliers. So, for example, you may need to share your customer database with a fulfillment house in order to get a large direct mail campaign sent out. So it's vitally important to ensure that data is being protected, whether it's being sent or received, and then you've got the right data protection forms and correspondence in place with any suppliers to make sure that you're protected from a data protection GDPR perspective. If you're sending data, always use secure data transfer methods, again, encryption, strong password protection protocols. Now, this all sounds like common sense, and it is, but sometimes when we're busy and we just want to get things done and we need to get something somewhere, sometimes it is easy to forget stuff like this. And I have seen it done, but please never send a password by the same method as you're sending a login to something. If you're sending the login by email, you could send a password by text, or at least keep them separate. The amount of times I've seen emails with all the information on for somebody to log in, it's not wise to do. So gone are the days when marketers, or indeed any department, could just view cybersecurity as an IT issue. It's not that simple. It's 2020, most company departments are using more technology, so it's making all departments responsible. It only takes one single computer to be compromised and the damage can spread through the whole network. And whilst the marketing department is as responsible as everybody else in the organisation in terms of needing to be cyber aware, it's also in their best interest to do so. Because in the case that an organisation does become victim to a data breach, it's the marketing department that has to step in and pick up the pieces to protect the company's reputation. And one of the speakers earlier mentioned it is really useful to have an incident response plan so that should a breach occur, the marketing team can kick straight into action and deliver a coordinated response to help minimise brand damage. I hope that's been useful.
Colette, thank you so much for that. That is just beautifully tied up our session today. We've gone from Paul talking to us about the threats that are out there, Matt telling us how to protect our business with the right insurance, talking about how we can migrate our files to a place where we're securely sharing it, Phil telling us about the training that we need to do, and Colette finishing off just wrapping it all up with how we get our marketing right and the security that sits in there. And hopefully that's been a useful session for you all. If you have any questions, please do let us know. drop us a line and we'll add them to the YouTube clip when it's finally published. And thank you to all the speakers today. Really appreciate you guys and the time and effort you've put in to preparing for today. Thanks very much.